First, I want to say I'm sorry. It's been a while since I made a video. We're back. We're back strong. Thank you for sticking around. Let's move on. Hello family, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I am Vicki and you're with Grammy in the Kitchen. So today I picked up my Azure order. It was not a big order, but I do want to share that with you at the end of the video. I have a situation. We need to figure out what we're going to do with this situation. I'm sorry the lighting is bad in here, but this is a spare bedroom that we turned into a pantry. I still have my Christmas wrapping paper in here. And I need to get it organized. That right there is a kitchen table with those wraparound booths. We no longer use that in the kitchen. I moved the freezer in there. So that's just in here. Plus those chewy boxes right there. That has a lot of sewing stuff in it. But family, whew, I need to get this room organized so I know where my things are. Like I said, the lighting is bad in here. But first, I need to get majority of this stuff out and figure out what I want to do. Now up here, I have a lot of 1-gallon jars with all kinds of things. I have split peas, all kind of lentils, my cocoa powder. I need to put this somewhere that I can label the lid and still be able to see what's inside of it so I don't have to grab a ladder to get up there. I have food down here on the floor. I need to get up on the shelf somewhere. That is all my spices and herbs. When I need to find something, oh, it's a headache, family. And look, I have 1 pint of chicken broth. 2 pints of pork broth. We need to get some chickens, find them on sale, and get some broth made. I think I want to put all my spices and herbs on this shelf. Find somewhere to put that air fryer right there that was given to me. So I know what I have and I can see it. And all of my backup of paper towels, toilet paper, aluminum foil, all those things, I need to find a new spot for those. I just need to do something. So I have my snap lid bottles here. I've got some canning jars over here, some store-bought jars that I use for storage. And then I have more canning jars here. Family, we just need to get in here and do something. This box is Christmas paper I got on sale after Christmas. This is our stockpile of Christmas paper. And in that bottom crate right there are boxes, bags, and all the things that we use for Christmas. Plus I have all these 5-gallon buckets everywhere. Okay, first, I think I'm going to start with this shelf since this is where I want to put my spices and herbs. So I need to get this shelf emptied, find a home for that air fryer that's down here. I just need to get moving. I need to get things going. I'll bring you back periodically to show you the progress, but I need to get moving. But I need to get moving now. I think what I'm going to do is, because I have all of these gallon-sized jars up here, plus I have a bunch here, I'm going to figure out what I need, not necessarily daily, but weekly or monthly, and what I don't need so often, and figure out where in this pantry I want to store my gallon jars so that the ones that I do need more often is easy accessible, and the ones that I don't use a lot aren't as easy accessible. And I'm wondering if I'm not using them that often, it's only because it's out of sight, out of mind, or do I just not need it? But first off, we need to get this room semi-empty so we can start moving things where we want them. Now I'm thinking, okay, all right, let me show you something. So on this shelf right here, on the second to the bottom shelf, I have my countertop roaster, my 32 quart stock pot, and my canner right there. And usually the crock pot is sitting in front of it. It's just not there right now. These things I don't need as often. So I'm thinking I want to put them up here. And then move these jars on this shelf and this shelf with the labels on top. And as for this shelf, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Okay, we just need to get started. We just need to get started. Let me start moving things into the living room and figure out what we're going to do after that. All right, time has passed, and I apologize, but we're done. Kind of. I decided I needed another shelf to go right here on this wall. There's a closet and the door to the hallway, and I want to put a shelf right there so I can have a place to put all my empty jars. So the husband and I went to Ollie's, and I picked up a 4-tier shelf. It is 51 7/8 inches high, 24 inches wide, 12 inches deep, and that's exactly what we need. And it was $19.99, and we had a coupon 15% off. So we were able to save $3. Once I get it together, we'll put our empty jars on it, and I'll give you a tour, and we still need to do that Azure haul. It has cute little feet. Doesn't really give you instructions. Maybe they think we don't need instructions. So I'm just putting the feet in this little hole and pushing it as far as I can. So that's the first shelf. And then I guess we need to put the second shelf on top of that. So this particular shelf has a very skinny end and a fat end. I don't know if it's showing up on camera. But this, the bigger end, goes into the shelf unit itself. And then another shelf. It's starting to come together, family. And it has these little caps that go on top. No. I built it upside down. Let's take it apart and do it again. It would have been nice if they gave us instructions. I had the legs with the skinny end at the top. I think it's supposed to go the other way so that the feet had something to attach to, because these little caps only fit on this end. We get to rebuild it again. Okay, so I have the feet in, and I think the skinny end is supposed to attach to the feet. Makes more sense. And now the top shelf. And now we can put the little pieces that go on the top inside those holes. And it's called a Stilton 4-tier shelf. It says each shelf capacity is 44 pounds and the whole thing capacity is 176 pounds. I'm not worried about that because we're actually just going to put empty jars on it. So before we get into the Azure haul, I want to ask you, please give this video a thumbs up. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe. It will help this channel to grow so we can show that we can feed our family with good quality food, plus finding things on sale and doing the things ourselves. making our own spice blends, all the things. So if you would, please subscribe. Now to the Azure haul. Now I used to buy from Azure every month. Finances are starting to get a little tight right now because I was working in a place where I was working 50 hours a week, making pretty good money as a restaurant manager. It was too stressful. I ended up leaving, and now I'm working part-time in a small little shop not too far from my home, making very little money. Plus the husband is in the process of retiring from his job very soon. We need to start crunching our dollars really, really fast so that we can make sure we're okay. Freezer's good. We've got food. We're going to still keep an eye on sales, but I want to try to get to ordering from Azure maybe twice a year. And that is why I bought 4 1-gallon jars of coconut oil. Ordering from Azure twice a year, I can order my oils in 4-gallon jars and jugs. That way I always have it. I was doing some calculations and I think I go through 3 to 4 gallons of each of my oils. Coconut oil, olive oil, and avocado oil. So the next time I place an order, which will be a couple months from now, I'm going to go ahead and order a case of either olive oil or avocado oil so I have all 3 of my oils in stock. I'm going to keep track of the expiration date. Don't worry, family. So we have 4 1-gallon size of organic coconut oil. This case came up to $84.63. Each gallon is $21.14. And when you buy it from the grocery store, it's right around a quart, maybe a little bit more than a quart. But if we were to get this in quart size, it was $5.28. So to me, that's not a bad price. And it has an expiration date 3/26/26. So I have until March of next year, but I'm not worried about the expiration date. I'm more worried about it going rancid than I am about the expiration date. I think we'll be okay. I'm very happy to have 4 gallons of coconut oil. Now, what do I use coconut oil with? I use this when I'm doing any kind of frying. It's the least expensive oil that I use without being junk or garbage. And I don't mind if I have to waste this frying things. I'm okay because the price point on coconut oil is better than the olive oil and the avocado oil. I got a case of tomato paste. And these are the 6-ounce cans. It's Azure Standard Brand Organic Tomato Paste. And the expiration date on this is March 1st, 2028. I got a case of 24. That was $34.29. So that comes up to $1.43 for each one of my little cans. Not a bad price for a good quality organic tomato paste. And if you ask what the ingredients are, it's tomato pulp, citric acid. That's it. Nothing else. No junk in this tomato paste. I love this. And in this repurposed box, it's starting to fall out. I have a 1-pound bag of organic ginger. This was $5.36. I'm going to keep this in the refrigerator, but sometime this week I want to go ahead and peel and grate this whole entire bag. I'm going to put it in a Ziploc bag. I'm going to freeze it in flats so that when I need ginger, all I have to do is just break it off a little bit and I have fresh ginger when I need it. I have a 10-pound bag of organic yellow onions. These things are huge. Look how big that thing is. It is ginormous. I'm going to take them out of this plastic bag and I'm going to put them in my reusable mesh produce bags. I'll hang it up in the pantry. I'll use them as fresh onions, but when I start seeing they're going soft or I need to do something with them or throw them away, I'll go ahead and chop all these up at one time, and I'll put them in Ziploc bags in 1 cup measurements, and I'll stick them in the freezer, and I'll have fresh onions for cooking. That's what we do with all of our onions anyway. And the onions were $17.95 for 10 pounds, so that's roughly about $1.80 a pound. And the last thing in this repurposed box is a gallon size of olive oil. And that is the Azure Market Organic Olive Oil, extra virgin. And the olive oil was $45.98. If we would divide this into quarts, that's $11.49 a quart. Olive oil in your store, especially organic, extra virgin, and see if that's a good price in your area. $11.49 a quart. We have the sales flyer. That's for next month. I'll go through here. Some of their sales will go beyond 1 month, and I'm going to look at this, see if there's anything I need in the future. If the sales do not extend to the time I want to order again from Azure, that's okay. I'm not worried about it. They always have really good sales all the time. I picked up a 25-pound bag of the Redmond's real salt, and this is the kosher, and this was $82.04. If you would divide this into 25 1-pound measurements, it'll be $3.18 a pound. For good quality salt that still has all of its minerals and vitamins, nothing has been stripped out of this salt. That is not a bad price. This is not table salt. This is real salt. Nothing has been stripped from it, and I love this salt. The last thing I got is my favorite flour. This is the Central Milling Company organic all-purpose flour, and that was $47.88. If you divide that by 10, and you would have 10 5-pound weights of flour, that's going to be $4.78. I know you can buy flour cheaper in the grocery store, but this is a good quality organic flour, and that's what I love to use. So that is everything we got from Azure Standard. What did we pay? So my total was $318.13. I have to pay for shipping because they have to get the tractor trailer, load it up, bring it to me on the East Coast, and it's based on the weight of your order. So I had to pay $27.04 for shipping. That was $345.17. 2 months ago, when I placed an Azure order, I had some Azure cash. That was $6.12 credit to my order. So what I paid was $339.05. And on this order, I have an Azure cash of $3.37 to use on my next order. I'm not sure how long it is before they drop that credit, because I know I placed an order last year in June of 24, and then I didn't place an order again until January, and the credit that I had occurred in June of last year was gone. So I'm not sure how long that credit lasts, but I'm not worried about it. If I can get it, I'll use it. If I can't, it's no problem. So that is what I spent this month. $339.05, but I have flour, I've got oils, I got onions, salt, I got the things we need. But before I let you go, I want to discuss with you just a bit. I have a list of the top 10 things that I do not buy in a grocery store. Breadcrumbs and bread cubes. I turn my sourdough bread, cut them up into cubes. I'll put them in a 200-degree oven and dry them for about 2 to 3 hours, giving them a nice toss every 30 minutes or so. I'll either save that as bread cubes for stuffing or other side dishes, or I put them in the high-speed blender and turn it into bread crumbs, and I can use that to bread different foods. So we do not buy bread cubes or bread crumbs from the grocery store. We make it ourselves. Specialty coffees. I do not go to the coffee shop and order specialty coffees except when I'm in North Carolina and I'm being treated by one of my kids and they want to take me to a coffee shop because there's a coffee shop down there we love. But other than that, we do not buy coffee outside the house. We make our own coffee, we make our own espresso, we make our own flavor syrups, we make our own cappuccinos. We do all those things in-house. I make my own laundry detergent. I have videos of that. If I can locate one, I'll put it in the iCards right there, plus in the description below. But we make our own homemade laundry detergent. And a while back, I did the math on it, and I think it was 8 cents or 20 cents per load. It wasn't that expensive. It's literally 3 ingredients: Fel naphtha soap, borax, and washing soda, and then water. That is it. That is how we make our own homemade laundry detergent. We do not buy those cans of soup, cream of fill in the blanks, mushrooms, chicken, celery, all the things. We do not buy those. We make it ourselves. We have our chicken broth powder, our vegetable broth powder, and we can make our own cream of anything soup when we want to make something like a green bean casserole or a soup that we want to make it a creamy chicken noodle soup. We make our own cream of anything soups. If you looked at the clip where we were in the pantry, there is a jar of store-bought sauce. The husband bought that last summer when we were spending a lot of time in North Carolina with Amanda's health being in and out of the hospital. Pretty much had to fend for himself all summer. So he did buy that sauce last year. We still have it. But we make our own homemade pasta sauce, pizza sauce, chili sauce for chili. We make our own tomato soups. We make all the things you need tomatoes for. We make it ourselves. We do not buy spice blends such as taco seasoning, fajita seasoning, pork rub, chicken dry rub. We make our own. We have a stocked spice and herb that we can make pretty much anything we want. I do buy the Italian seasoning blend and the Italian dressing blend, but I get those from Azure standard, but everything else, we make it ourselves. I do not buy canned beans when you need to make chili or if you want a side dish for beans. We do not buy those in the grocery store. We make it ourselves. We get our dry beans, we can them, and we have our own canned dry beans. We make our own brown sugar. It is really simple to make brown sugar. You just need sugar and molasses, both which I get from Azure Standard, and you can make your own brown sugar. The color of the brown sugar from light to dark is determined by how much molasses you put in your sugar. I don't worry about the color. I don't worry about if a recipe calls for light brown sugar or dark brown sugar. Whatever my brown sugar turns into, that's what we use. And we don't buy vanilla in the grocery store. We make our own vanilla with a good quality liquor. I usually use Tito's vodka, or I use Captain Morgan Silver rum. So I either use vodka or rum, and then I get fresh vanilla beans from Azure Standard. And family, I can tell you, they're expensive, but for an ounce of beans, of vanilla beans from Azure Standard, will give me a big bottle, the kind of bottle that has to handle, 3 liters of vanilla, and that pretty much lasts me a whole year. I have never, ever bought kombucha from the grocery store. I've always wanted to try it, but when I found out how easy it is to make kombucha, we make our own. So those are the top 10 things we do not buy in the grocery store. There are 9 things that I will only get from Azure Standard. 1 is all of my herbs and spices. I get everything from Azure Standard, and I usually get it in the pound size bag. Now, if it's a dry herb like basil, thyme, rosemary, there's dry herbs, they will actually fit in a gallon size jar. 1 pound of herbs will fit in a gallon size jar. The spices that we get, the smoked paprika, the garlic powder, the onion powder, cumin, chili powder, those things, a pound size bag will fit into a quart size mason jar. And the price getting it from Azure Standard is a whole lot cheaper than buying those little bitty jars you get at the grocery store. If you buy a little jar of chili powder, I'm telling you, in next month, you'll be buying it again. When I buy it by the pound, and it will last me at least 6 months. Sometimes it'll last me longer than that, but when the kids in North Carolina need taco seasoning, I'll go through it pretty fast. My sugar, flour, oils, and salt I only get from Azure Standard because I can get an organic, good quality of those items, and I know what's in them, and I'm not worried about feeding my family junk food when I can get good quality flour, salt, oils, and sugar from Azure Standard. I get my pepper. I actually buy it peppercorn, the whole corn, and a pound of peppercorn actually fits quart-sized mason jar, and then I'll grind it myself. Sometimes I'll use the food processor if I want a coarse chop. Sometimes I'll put it in the high-speed blender if I want it very, very fine. So depending on how coarse or fine you want your pepper will determine how you grind it. But grinding your own peppercorn into pepper, there's so much flavor in that. It holds its flavor. It's not losing itself. Dry beans. I get all of my dry beans from Azure Standard. I'm either buying a 5-pound bag or a 25-pound bag. Sometimes I do get a 10-pound bag. A 5-pound bag of dry beans will fit in a gallon size jar. The 25-pound bag will fit in a 5-gallon bucket, and always use a gamma lid. Put a little bit of bay leaves, dry bay leaves in there, and it helps deter any kind of rodents or pests getting into your beans and rice. My canned tomato products, when I'm making homemade pasta sauce, or if I need crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, or tomato paste, I only buy it in the case, and I get it from Azure Standard. And the last thing I will only buy from Azure Standard is honey. I get honey in a gallon-sized jar, and it lasts me for over a year. Now, honey is one of those foods that is a forever food. Now, there will be an expiration date on the honey, but it will last forever. It will start crystallizing, but all you have to do is put it in a glass container, Put it in a pot with something on the bottom, such as like a dishcloth, with hot water. Immerse, put your jar in there, but you don't want to cook it too far because it's raw honey, and raw honey has a lot of benefits, so you don't want to cook it too hot. You just want to heat it up so it becomes more fluid, and it will never ever go bad. So those are the top things I do not buy at the grocery store, and the top 9 things I only get from Azure Standard. And down below it's going to be a link to Azure Standard, and if you use my link and you purchase $100 or more within the next 3 months of signing up, I am gifted $25 from Azure Standard. It does not cost you a dime, but using my link does benefit me. So if you haven't tried Azure Standard and you want to look at their prices, please go to the link below and check them out. Then once you make your first order from them and you pick up your order from your local drop area, you're also giving a referral number, and whoever uses your referral number and they spend $100 or more in the next 90 days, you are also gifted $25 from Azure Standard. Not from your friends, not from your family. It comes from Azure Standard. So if you would, please go check them out, and you'll see why I love Azure Standard. We are done. We are finished. It is the best it's going to be. Finally got all the Azure order in here, but let me give you a tour of what we did. We pretty much moved A to B, B to C, and then C went to A. We just moved things around. Plus, we built a shelf. Now, if you remember correctly, on this top shelf that's above my working pantry, but on this top shelf was all of those 1-gallon jars that were full of things that I had no idea what I had. Well, technically, I knew what I had. I just couldn't see it. It was so far up there. But what we did is we moved the countertop roaster right there. The crock pot. Behind the crock pot is the canner. The sun oven and the 32-quart stock pot is now on this shelf where those gallon-sized jars were. All of those jars are emptied, washed, and ready to fill as we get things. I didn't do much here. I have a few tomato paste right there, but that's the tomato paste we just bought. I put the onions in a mesh reusable produce bag, and I have it right there, hanging up on that pole for this shelf. Those are the parts to my high-speed blender, you know, like the smoothie bowls and the food processor stuff is all over there in those reusable mesh bags. All of my canning rings are there. This area was not changed. I just kind of organized my oils, vinegar, and honey down there. That's a gallon-sized jar of my new salt we just got. Plus I have one of those 2.5-gallon buckets with salt. Still need to bring my sugar in here and the flour. I haven't dealt with the flour yet. The backup coconut oil is on this shelf, as well as the olive oil. And that is on my backup Ziploc bags. That is gallon-sized Ziploc bags. Behind that is the quart-sized Ziploc bag. My vacuum seal bags, plastic wrap, aluminum foil, and then I have 2 of those parchment papers. The paper towels, toilet paper, and tissues are still on the top shelf. Doesn't look so crowded. And we didn't do anything with this shelf. That is exactly the way it was. But shelf 3, 4, and 5 are all the gallon size, half gallon, and quart size of all of our pantry staples. I try to get it as organized as possible. So right there I have beans. I have all different kind of flour, including masa, both yellow and white. That's in there somewhere. This is some other staples. And I have pink Himalayan salt in the coarse and pink Himalayan salt in the powder form. Down there I have lentils and split peas. That is my black tea that I use to make the kombucha. And that's my pancake container. I need to make some more pancake mix. And behind that is a bunch of baking things such as cocoa powder, powdered sugar, and different things like that. I have medjool dates and raisins. On the bottom I have some orzo. That's the herb de Provence. I finally got it in a jar. And then I have thyme right behind it. Then I have some more nuts and raisins and things on that shelf. So I'm thinking the shelf that's close to the bottom, one up, is the one I will probably use the most. This will be used second. And the bottom is what I use the least. I still have my pasta bread cubes in that bin. The bottom bin is my backup flour. This is the shelf we just built to put all of our empty canning jars. And at the bottom I have the kombucha snap lid bottles, and I need to make kombucha today. So as you walk in the door, this shelf that's right here on the end of one of the 2x4 pantry shelf is all of my herbs and spices. It has 4 shelves and it is packed. The top is what I use the most, the least, rarely, and very, very rarely. And whatever didn't fit on here, I have on the bottom of this shelf. I still have all the Christmas wrap stuff in here, but at least it's in one area. Still need to deal with the flour. So I just want to say thank you very much for hanging out with me for the last couple days. We finally got in here. We're able to walk. We have room to do what we need to do without shimming through things. I have things that I used least up here. The things that I couldn't see up there, I have now down here. Finally got a shelf for all my empty canning jars and my kombucha snap lid bottles. I am super happy, super happy. I have all of my empty gallon and half gallon jars right up there. So if I get something in bulk that I don't already have a jar over here, I can just grab one of those jars and they're ready to go. So if you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. And if you would, go ahead and subscribe. I would absolutely love to have you part of the Grammy family. In this kitchen, in this pantry, we try to buy things that we can feed our family, and we buy it in bulk. We fill our freezer. We fill our pantry. We do the things we need to do to make sure we have food security. You have homeowners insurance. You have car insurance. You have life insurance, medical insurance. You need to start focusing on food insurance. Now, everybody knows that when you go to the grocery store, the prices are ridiculous. We need to learn how to shop the sales and do as much of the processing of protein when we're able to get it on sale ourselves, like cutting up a chicken, making our own pork chops, making our own sausage. We have to learn how to find the sales on things we can't do, on hamburger, on bacon, on the things we can't do or we don't want to do. We need to start saving money and doing the things ourselves. Now, this is not a backup pantry. This is not in case the world goes crazy pantry. This is a working pantry. When I take something off of this shelf, I take it here, take it into the kitchen, and do what I need with this. And the next time I buy something, such as this is organic garbanzo chickpeas, if I need to buy some more, I'll pull all of these to the front, put the new ones in the back. That is called FIFO. FIFO. First in, first out. Second in, second out. So my pantry gets rotated as I buy and replenish. I have tomato paste here, and I will not open this one to bring it down here until these are gone. Keep an eye on specials at the grocery store and start building up slowly till you have food security. We all need to make sure we have food security. Nobody's going to save you when you and your family are hungry. You need to start thinking ahead and buy the things you need. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up. It will help this channel to grow, and we can get the word out that we, normal people, can have food security if we know how to shop, if we know how to process protein as we can get it on sale, if we know how to cook from scratch. Stop buying boxed meals, stop buying frozen dinners, and get in the kitchen and cook it yourself. So until next time, family, you have a blessed day. And I want to say thank you for being with me the last couple of days while we got the things we need to do done. Bye, family.